Yes, partially decayed zombies are gross, but what really happens to this beautiful specimen of human meat after it dies? Let's get into the gross details. Hey everybody, Trace here for D-News. Death is as natural as birth, but it's celebrated a lot less. At the moment of death, the brain has a surge of activity as its last oxygen is depleted, and then it goes dark. Hormones which regulate body functions stop being secreted by the brain, and though some physical functions continue for a few minutes, eventually all human functions stop and the post-death process begins. Firstly, at death, all your muscles relax. It takes burning oxygen for energy to keep you tense. No O2, no tension. This includes the body's sphincters, which is why death often causes defecation and incontinence. Now, just because the body is medically dead doesn't mean everything in the body is. Some cells continue burning remaining energy, which contributes to what happens after we die. Not to mention the 100 trillion bacteria living inside of our intestines, on our skin, and elsewhere. They've been with us our whole lives, so there's no reason for them to stop now. Algae mortis, or the death chill, begins immediately at death. On average, a human body loses 1.5 degrees an hour until it reaches room temperature. Without a heartbeat, blood and fluids begin the lividity process at that point, succumbing to gravity and pooling the blood at the lowest points in the body. In light-skinned people, pooling blood is visible outside of the body as a dark purplish blue, and after 2 hours, that blood clots. This is how forensic specialists can tell if a body has been moved. Within 3 to 6 hours, rigor mortis sets in, tensing the muscles again. After death, calcium floods the muscle tissue and bonds with proteins that control muscle contraction. This uncontrolled bonding causes muscles to tense up for about 24 to 48 hours until it wears off. The eyes will cloud during this time as well, especially if they're left open. And once rigor sets in, they are pretty much stuck open for a while. So that whole closing eye things in the movie, it's possible as long as you get to them really quickly. Though you might not have to, because according to one study, 63% of people fully close their eyes at death, which actually kind of seems like a lot to me. Okay, so let's get back to it. You're dead. Your decomposition is starting. This is exciting. Your cells are dead and they're beginning to break down. In this case, cell death happens because of necrosis. It's messy, and without circulation, the body can't come clean up that dead cell matter. As carbon dioxide builds up and the pH of the tissues in your body rise, the cells weaken and eventually their cell membranes break, releasing the inside fluids into the surrounding tissue. Enzymes in that fluid cause damage, blistering, and color changes, and this continues for a long while. By the second or third day, putrefaction sets in, assuming you're just leaving the body out. Oxygen has been depleted by the natural microorganisms in our respiratory and gastrointestinal systems, and they've begun to spread into other sections of the body. For example, enzymes in the pancreas cause it to actually digest itself. And the gut bacteria, they love that, so they eat it too, which turns the abdomen into a greenish color. Gas begins to build up, forcing any non-digestibles like feces out of the body. This is when the smell just gets beyond horrible. Like, it's really bad. I've smelled it. You do not want to smell it. 2 organic amine chemicals, putrescine and cadaverine, are created during this interaction, and eventually this makes its way into the blood vessels. Picture like a post-apocalyptic highway, right? Using that, they can get to the rest of the body and ooze out, causing a really, I cannot stress this enough, horrible rotting smell. Eventually, necrosis and the work of bacteria changes that greenishness of skin to purple and then to black. The smell causes more insects to come lay eggs and invade the body, which has been happening already, but this is way more. A single blowfly can lay 300 eggs, which will hatch in a single day. Their larvae will eat tissues nearby their egg site for a week as a maggot before transforming into a blowfly and going away. Over the next week, maggots and bacteria pop holes in the body, releasing the gas and the smell even more. These maggots can consume 60% of a body in like a week, but there's still a lot to go because, again, this is just the first week, guys. Next, butyric fermentation starts and the organs and tissues begin to dry out and wax over. Think of like a mummy in a museum. The tissues are being slowly digested by more bacteria, insects, protozoa, and fungi. This stage takes a long time, maybe as much as a year or more in moderate temperatures, faster in hot temperatures, slower in cold ones. Once the fluids are mostly dry, post-decay starts. The soft tissues and organs are pretty much dried up and consumed, but bones and hair, cartilage, and sticky byproducts of these earlier stages are all still around. This is when a variety of beetles and flies move in, each species looking to eat away part of what's left. Over the subsequent years, plants and animals will eat away the skeleton and eventually dust to dust. you're gone forever. Of course, in modern life, we usually never get past the first few days. Embalming helps delay much of these processes, as does cooling the body down. This is more like if you left a human laying around, like an old pizza. Sure, we die, but all these things live on thanks to our gross, wet corpses. It's inevitable and kind of fascinating. I could do like 5 more episodes just on all of this stuff and what happens later. Let us know what you think about this down below. Not like down below, like buried and just down in the comments. And make sure you subscribe for more D News. Lacey did a video, you can find it over here, about how we even know when someone dies. And me and Wilson talked about if you can be scared to death right here. Thanks for watching, everybody. Happy Halloween.